Every time that someone says complementary colors, my designer soul leaves my body a little each time. School taught us the basics, which is cute, adorable even, but none of it prepared us for the decisions that designers actually make from day to day. Like, why does teal feel nostalgic? Why does pink feel expensive? Why does this brown make the whole design look like sadness on toast? And why do other palettes make your brain go like, that's really cozy, while others make you want to file a complaint? Today we are diving into real color theory, the juicy stuff, the stuff that makes your work look thoughtful, intentional, Pinterest-worthy, portfolio-ready. So grab a snack and let's dive into it. Let's start by talking about the emotional stuff, because honestly, this is where color stops being color and starts becoming therapy. First, we have warm colors, the extroverts. Reds, oranges, yellow. They are the colors that walk into a room and they yell, "Hey bestie!" Warm colors represent things like energy, excitement, hunger, urgency. And that is why restaurants are like, yes, let's paint everything red so people get hungry and leave quickly. But okay, warm colors aren't always screaming. A musty orange, instant nostalgia, cozy sweater weather energy. Next up, let's talk about cool colors. The introverts, blues, green, purples. These are the colors that are like, okay, babe, just breathe. They are steady, calming, grounding. Brands love to use these colors to say, trust me, I am stable. We have our life together here, even though sometimes they absolutely do not. And next up, let's talk about muted colors. Memory filters. Muted tones, they feel like old Polaroids. Childhood summers. The smell of books. A rainy Sunday tea. They hold emotion without yelling it. Perfect for storytelling and brand nostalgia. Okay, but we have to talk about neon colors. Neon colors equal chaos and confidence. Neon colors, if they could actually talk, they'd be that one friend who's like, okay, let's go skydiving at midnight. And they are extremely powerful, especially when you use them intentionally. One neon accent could elevate your palette instantly, but too much neon, suddenly your design is yelling at people like an energy drink commercial. Okay, but the real message here? Pick your emotional lane before you choose your color palette. It is like character development and storytelling. You have to know what the vibe is first. But next, we have to talk about color and temperature. Temperature is not just warm versus cool. It is direction, it is story. If you put a warm color next to a cool color, your eye will automatically see the warm color as closer. You could use it for things like focal points, hierarchy, depth and flat design, guiding the viewer's eye across the layout. And I know this video is about design, but this is actually something that I like playing with photography. I like using split toning to create like cool tones along with warm tones. I feel like it creates more of an interesting photo. The same thing could completely be done with graphic design too, though. It could be the very way that you create cinematic lighting in 2D design. And point number 2 that you should take away from this is that cool colors recede. Cool colors create breathing room, space, calmness. They make everything feel more elegant and soft. This is why a lot of luxury brands out there love using cool neutrals. Designers usually pick one temperature as home base, then use the opposite to create contrast. And what do I mean by this? An example would be if a brand is mostly cool toned, but then they have like warm gold accents. It gives the design a very classy look. And then there's the opposite of that, which is a mostly warm palette with an accent of blue. This is something that could feel modern and grounded. Or maybe there's a palette that is mostly neutrals with one vibrant color. This equals high energy aesthetic. Temperature is how designers create harmony without being boring. And next, let's talk about saturation and control. Saturation is literally the difference between, wow, this looks like a sophisticated editorial spread, and this looks like a clown festival poster. You could think of saturation as volume. High saturation, it's very loud, where low saturation is the opposite. It is very quiet. And you guys have heard me say it before, if everything is loud, then nothing stands out. But the opposite is true. If everything is quiet, then nothing is speaking. I'm going to let you in on the designer rule of 70, 20-10. 70% low saturation tones. This is your base. 20% mid saturation. This is what you should use for your details. And 10% high saturation. What do you want to stand out? Maybe this is what clients mean when they ask you to make it pop. This makes your palette look curated rather than chaotic. And let's talk about the emotion behind saturation. High saturation is youthful and energetic. Low saturation is mature, elegant, nostalgic. Match your saturation to the personality of your project. Okay, but let's talk about color perception. Colors change depending on what's around them. This is why you pick a beautiful palette, use it in a design, and then all of a sudden, it looks wrong. Your brain does this weird thing where it makes the blue look darker next to white, for instance. Makes a red look kind of orange when it's next to yellow. Makes your green look dirty when it's next to certain brown shades. My tip here is to not finalize your palette in the picker. Always test it in the design. Test it in large shapes, next to each other, in context, with your actual typography. Every designer will tell you, 90% of picking the right color is picking the wrong ones first. Let's talk about simultaneous contrast. When two colors sit side by side, your brain, it will naturally exaggerate the differences. This could be a disaster, or it could be a superpower. Use it to make accents pop. Create illustration depth. Make neutral tones feel richer or softer. So how do graphic designers choose a palette that feels intentional? Step 1, choose your vibe with words, not colors. Do you want your design to feel cozy, neutral? Or maybe you want it to feel bold and modern? Maybe you're going for something that's feminine or clean. Or is it vintage and cinematic? Is it sporty or youthful maybe? Or maybe you're going for that earthy luxury. Once you have your vibe, then pick the colors. Step number 2, pick your main color family. Pick a lane. Warm, cool, earthy, pastel, jewel tones, neutrals, maybe neons. This is your palette foundation. And step number 3, add an accent color. One color gets to be your pop. Just one. Every band needs one lead singer, right? It is the same with a color palette. Who is your lead? And step number 4, control your saturation. To avoid chaos, desaturate your base colors. Keep your pop color more intense. Avoid using a lot of high saturation tones unless the goal is for your design to feel youthful. And step number 5, add neutrals last. Neutrals balance the whole cast. White, black, gray, beige, olive, sand, charcoal. Neutrals make your palette feel real-world usable. And step number 6, test your palette. This could be a fake poster, a social media template, a brand card layout. Seeing your palette used in context eliminates bad decisions fast. Okay, here's a few examples of real-world color palettes in action. Let's say that you're going for a cozy cafe brand. A good idea would be warm neutrals and muted green, plus one saturated accent color. Or let's say that you're designing for a tech startup. A good idea for a tech startup would be cool blues with an off-white neutral, and maybe one neon accent for energy. Or let's say that you're designing for a luxury skincare brand. I would go for low saturation, soft tones, and maybe like a soft gold. Or let's say that you're designing for a kids brand. You need high saturation, rounded shapes, lots of energy, maybe some friendly contrast. Or let's say that you're designing for a vintage-inspired brand. I would go for maybe like dusty warm tones with a rich brown. Add in some creamy neutrals. Do you see how all of these look very intentional? It is because only one color is saturated. Okay, so let's talk about a few mistakes that a lot of beginners make. Mistake number 1, using too many saturated colors. I'm pretty sure by this point of the video you know what the fix is. Pick one saturated color. Mistake number 2, picking colors individually instead of using them in a group. The fix for this is to pick them all together in the start. Mistake number 3, ignoring temperature. The fix to this is to pick a base temperature and then use the opposite of that for accents. And mistake number 4, no neutrals. I feel like the fix for this is pretty obvious. Add a beige, a black, or a gray. And the final mistake, relying on the color picker instead of references. And the fix to this is very simple. Pull from nature, photography, mood boards. And that is the color theory that we should have learned in school. not the wheel, not complementary colors. It's important to know that too, but what's even more important is emotional psychology, temperature, saturation, perception, the stuff that makes your design actually look good. If you're ever interested too, I can make a part 2 where I show you how I create color palettes for clients. But yeah, just let me know in the comments. I could talk about this stuff forever. And if you like this video, go ahead and give it a like. Subscribe for more content just like this because I make videos like this every single week. And that's all I have for you right now. I'll see you next time. Bye.